morning, everybody. Welcome back to Wise Tech for Wise Money. I'm Gary Wayne, founder of A1 Solutions, where we work with founders to scale intelligently through applied AI automation and smarter operational systems. Today's episode is titled AI-led exit planning, turning micro businesses into sale-ready assets. I'm joined today by Alain Dagenais, a professional engineer and certified exit planner based in Ottawa, Canada. Alain operates a number of ventures, including LipBow, but his primary focus today is a platform called PlanBot, a proprietary AI-driven exit planning application designed specifically for micro and small businesses. Traditionally, exit planning can cost anywhere between $10,000 to $30,000, which is completely out of reach for companies with 1 to 4 employees, generating maybe $50,000 to $100,000 in net income. So Alain has built an AI-enabled system that allows business owners to understand what their company is worth, identify potential buyer pathways, model tax-efficient exit scenarios, and improve sale readiness. Alain, welcome to the show. Good to have you here.
Happy to be with you.
So to start off, it would be good if we could sort of explain to the listeners your background. I know you're a professional engineer by training, but maybe you could give us a little bit of color on your journey to how you got to where you are today.
Sure. I've actually owned many businesses, actually 5 different businesses that I eventually succeed in transferring them and selling them. And at retirement, I thought my passion was going to be to fly, so I bought myself a plane, became a pilot. But after flying a couple of hours per day, I said, what else is there to do? Didn't want to stick into the house and been doing the dishes or passing the vacuum. So I said, I gotta find some type of business to get away from this trouble. So I started coaching businesses on how to scale their business, how to grow their business, and also how to maybe exit their business because I had experience in exiting the business. And then I became a certified exit planner with an organization called BEI, Business Enterprise Institute, which is a really gold standard in the US on how to be trained for exit planning. And started to do some exit planning. And I enjoyed that a lot. And I enjoyed the fact that I could do my business just on the internet and didn't need to be in an office or could be anywhere. Today I'm speaking to you, I'm in Calgary. And I can do my business while I'm down south or anywhere, so I enjoyed that. I noticed that many of my clients, mostly I started with engineering architectural practice because I had owned one for 40 years. And I realized that most of the businesses are small businesses, micro businesses, 2, 3 employees, they generate $1 million worth of sales or less, and they just can't afford to pay for exit planning because they don't know if it's worthwhile for them to do exit planning. So after doing maybe 10 or 15, I realized that the resistance to do planning was the cost. And the cost is high because everything is done manually. So with the avenue of AI, I said, well, why don't I create a proprietary algorithm AI that will automate this portion and will be able to do what I call concept exit plans. It's not a full exit plan because an exit plan needs to be implemented to work with the local lawyers and local accountant to file the proper paperwork, etc. But it does do all the necessary groundwork and document and build the confidence that is worthwhile to invest into legal or accounting fees because the plan does show what they can do, what the value of the company could be, how they can even improve the value of the company, and all kinds of information like that. So I created that as my next step into business, and here I am talking to you today.
Fantastic. When did you realise that traditional advisory models weren't serving micro business owners? Was that through your own experience or through trying to help them yourselves?
Well, I've just realized that, most business exit plan are started with lawyers or accountants. When you want to sell your business, sometimes you speak to your accountant and say, I don't know, I'm getting tired. I'm like to maybe start thinking of stopping this. I don't know if I can sell it. But most lawyers and accountants, at the fees that they are not too economical to do a micro business, because just gathering as to, well, what exactly are you trying to do in your exit plan? What are your goals? What would you like to do? How much money would you like to have? They can build up a tab, $8,000 to $10,000, and they haven't yet produced a plan. So I thought if I could get this automated and get it done faster, then this information that it would accumulate, it would provide clarity, it would provide, how should I say, a decision point, a rational point, that they could say, yes, it is worth it, or no, it's not really worth it. I might as well close down. My business is not sellable. It's not transferable. I'm too much owner-centric. Or I can change that if I want by, getting some help from proper consultants in transferring business making more into a transferable business. So the saving that can be done through there, because do an exit plan through my application will cost them $295. You can get it on Google Store or Google Play, Apple Store or Google Play. And for $295, they get the conceptual exit plan that will make them ready to go and see professionals.
So, what is the difference between what you're doing and what I would experience if, say, I was a free employee company earning 80 to 100K annually, and I engaged a traditional exit planner? What would actually I see from PlanBot instead?
For PlanBot, one of the things is it's convenient. It is an application that you can use on your mobile. Right now, we've got it in French and in English, but in about a month and a half, we'll have it in 7 different languages, and also will be able to be used on your on a website, that is to say, on your normal computer. Right now, you can use on your Apple phone, on your Samsung, on your tablet, or any of those. The big difference is that you are speaking with PlanBot, and you think you're speaking with a human, but you're actually speaking with a robot. And you can even use a regular phone, and we have a line on there that you can speak with it. It doesn't have to be an intelligent phone. And you can even ask questions about why are you asking me my sales or my net profit, and the robot will help you understand. So it's a learning curve for them. In order that they could get some clarity as to what business that they've got and how do they compare, and what can they do with it, and how can they best also prepare to be ready. Because some of the clients are just want to be exit ready. They don't necessarily want to sell right now, but they say, if I was to sell, how can I get ready? And well, if I was to be exiting, what would it look like? What kind of money would I get from selling my company? What would be the process? How long would it take? What are my options? So these are all kinds of questions that you don't need to pay like $500 or $600 an hour to get the answer for. We have the robot that can provide you with those answers and guide you into this overwhelming process of getting ready.
So most guys I talk to in M&A and exit planning say that it takes up to 5 years sometimes for businesses to be ready to exit. So, if that's the case, and maybe it's less time with a micro business, how does PlanBot facilitate that compared to an external advisor?
That's right. Well, you see, you're right. If you wait too long to do your exit plan, it's like booking for a trip. If you wait at the last minute to book for the hotel, your options are kind of limited and the cost is usually higher. It is important, but most people procrastinate on doing exit planning because the cost, the time, the overwhelming of what has to be done. So they lose a lot of options. So the PlanBot makes a difference because, I mean, 295, it's not the end of the world. And you can get it done, and even if you do 1 hour right now, and then you have to do something else, tomorrow you reopen PlanBot, it will start where you were, exactly the same page, and continue right there. So it will provide the convenience. You don't have also to take rendezvous with your lawyer, make sure you're on time, wait half an hour in the waiting room until he can meet you, bring all your paperwork. You've got that, all of that at home or at your office, and you can do that well. So the convenience will minimize the procrastination, the convenience, and the, how should I say, the low cost will allow people to do this as a practice. Actually, I hope through PlanBot, which is really an infrastructure to help the process of doing exit planning, will become something normal, like you do your accounting, like you do your filing, as it's simple, it is quick, and you can upgrade because you can do your exit plan right now, and this is a dynamic living document, and things change. You now got two more key employees that are really making it happen, and the value has increased. You can resubmit. You got it for 10 years, and you can improve, change it, and see how it's tuned up and adjusted to your new business growth or the new economic situation that is happening. So it is really provide flexibility and timing so that we address this problem of people delaying, waiting at the last minute to do some planning.
Tell me how physically PlanBot works. I'm a business. I want to sell. What? How do I actually access the platform? What input do I need to do? Is there any human intervention at all in case I need to have some sort of human touch? Just talk me through the whole process if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Well, one thing, you just go to Google Store, you go to Apple Store, and you just download the application, and then you will choose a mode. Either you would like to, because it's a series of templates of questions, and you can choose to, read the question, type the answer, just like that. Or you can use, just like ChatGPT, you can read the question and you can answer the question with speaking, just with the vocal mode. Or you can, if you want, use completely what we call the phone bot concierge, which is just speaking with the computer. You don't even have to follow up the template questions that are there. And with at any stage, whichever, you can also ask questions as to why this question is asked, because it's a question of gathering data, gathering where are you, where do you want to go, what have you got, do you have any other passive income that you could use when you sell your company? Do you have any retirement plan in place already? Do you know the value of your company? Or if not, okay, let's see your financial statements, give us the data, and we'll analyze it for you. And all of those information is on a private server that is completely encrypted and private and confidential, so that people can feel comfortable in getting that done. The process would take about 8 to 10 hours to get done. It's a lot of questions, because you need to, like anything, garbage in is garbage out. If you don't send enough good information, and we request that they be accurate when they give us an answer on sales. It's not just roughly what they think. We want to know the actual number of sales that they did last year, the year before, in the last previous 3 years. What is their net profit, etc. We ask which country they are in, because the laws are different in different countries. And again, this is not replacing a lawyer or an accountant. This is not legal advice. This is based on the knowledge and known data that are there, what would be normally applicable. Once they've got that concept plan, they go through the whole process, they get a report. And they can either download it, they can either print it, whichever they want. And they get also another report, which is called an action checklist. That is to say, based on the data that you were required, what would be your next steps? Do you need to, let's say the value of the business is not high enough to get the personal income that they want? Because most people, what I've realized is that when I ask them, well, how much would you like to make at retirement? They say, well, I don't know, but I would love to make as much as I'm making right now, but not having to work. So we say, well, let's see how that can be done. So we use that figure and say, well, what else have you got in terms of passive income that is not coming from the business? It's a little calculator that is there, call it the freedom calculator. Then we count what are the net proceeds going to be after you got tax, because in different countries it's different. Like in Canada, if you sell your business, a small business, and you're not holding it through a holding company but through an operating company, you have zero capital gain tax for the first $1,250,000 per partner. That's a lot of money for micro business.
It's the same as the UK, actually.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, because even if you're a small business, $300,000 or $200,000 may not be a lot for a lot of people, but at $200,000 next of tax, that's something great. People then, if they know, well, even if I can get $250,000, I don't mind paying the $5,000 for a formal valuation by my company from a lawyer or an accountant to get the buy and sell agreement and to file the documents with the government. So this is really what is beautiful about that. So the final mode, which was on the phone, this can be done while you're driving. This could be done, well, not too recommended while driving, because you don't want to be considerate, but on the goal section, because, a lot of people, more than financially, they don't know the goal, what they want to do. And sometimes we have to ask questions, well, what do they don't want? Sometimes you know more what you don't want to happen than what you know you want to happen. So we help them clarify, what would it look like if I was to be retired and I've sold or transferred my business? And what would I be doing? You have to ask about, well, what would you do at retirement? Most people that didn't plan when they sell their business regret it, because they didn't find the passion to do what they wanted to do. They find they're useless. They have no purpose in life anymore. So part of the planning is to help to do that, to define as to, well, why do you want to do? Some people, they have to sell because of, the 5Ds, their disease, the divorce, they've got a disagreement with their partner, they've got, the economic situation that is surprising them. Because life sometimes sends us curveball. People that were in the taxi business, once they used to be able to think of selling their business, but once Uber came in the picture, that went down the drain immediately, and their businesses were peanuts. So you got to also prepare to be, well, what would happen? How protected am I from market change? What am I doing? So these are questions that when you get the answer or you get to see the options, it builds a level of comfort. It builds, how should I say, a better way of seeing where am I going. So I don't know if
and PlanBot can do all this.
Pardon me?
And PlanBot can do all this.
Yes, it is. I've been working at this for a very long time, and it is, let me tell you, it's not simple to create a proprietary algorithm.
No.
You can use ChatGPT to try to request an exit plan. The problem is, it is not a proprietary algorithm. Depending on the information it has, you can ask 3 times with the same number, what will it give, and it'll give in 3 different reports, which is not too reliable. In terms of valuation for the business, it is just too vague. So it is enough of a speciality that you do have to machine learn your robot so that it will follow a systematic process, will have a fixed rationale to create, again, a conceptual plan. And once the conceptual plan is done and you know that you're confident, then you're prepared to go and pay the higher fees to get professional implementation, to even improve the concept plan and make it even better, a better plan for them to exit.
Two questions at the moment. Suppose I don't have any money to go to an accountant or a lawyer afterwards. You know, can I take that plan as gospel and you know use it with a company that actually does a sale?
I would recommend that if it is worth selling, you will see how much you're making, that you do file the proper legal documents, that you do. Because, you know, if let's say you sell to key employees, well, you'll have to prepare a buy and sell agreement. You can try to get one done on ChatGPT, but really, I'd really recommend you get it done through a legal professional. And same thing to file for, if you want to avoid the tax for capital gain in Canada or in UK, you got to file the proper documents. You got to show that you meet the requirements of that. You can try to do it yourself. I don't recommend. I personally, we stated very clearly in PlanBot, we are not legal advisor. We are not accountants. We are not lawyers. We're not financial planners. We do make some recommendation for financial planning. You know, they're based on the rule of thumb. If you've got $1 million in to invest and you don't remove more than 4%, that amount should maintain there, and you can rely on this. But most financial planner will go and say, okay, well, let's do a better assessment. How long do you expect to live? What do you want to leave to your children at the end, if you want, or if you want to leave it? They will do a better assessment of a more precise assessment, a more tailored assessment. And the PlanBot is not to go into the very each detail of what is the maximum. This is where, once you've got a concept plan, the financial planner, the accountant, and really an exit plan is with the team. And we recommend in our report, once you got an exit plan, make sure you got the right team. An accountant, most accountants are what I call compliance accountant. They are expert in preparing your year-end financial statements and submit for taxes. But when you talk about exit planning, they're clueless. Unless they're from a large firm. And this is why if you ask them what to do as a business owner, they'll say, well, I think you should speak to your lawyer, or they'll try to defer you to go and see a broker. But they don't know. But if they've got an exit plan and they've got exit goals that they want to do, specific action that they want to do, even a regular accountant can see, oh, I can do that. Based on their knowledge and education, they can help. But if not, we've got in PlanBot a directory. That is to say, a lot of people, believe me or not, buy this application because they are exit planners. And they also use it because why do manually what automation can get done for them so that they can refer their clients to say, use PlanBot. Once you got a concept plan, come and see me. We'll do the expertise. We'll do the human interaction. We'll do the application that goes there, and we'll tell you how it can be even improved. So a lot of people, like I'm thinking about in the US, organizations like I became certified exit planning, like EPI or BEI. EPI by itself have 8,000 certified exit planners. But those people are lawyers, accountants, bankers, people who don't do as their core revenue exit planning, but they use exit plan to do their services. They also use this because it's worthwhile for them.
So this vehicle basically is good for individual business owners. It's good for accountants. It's good for lawyers. They can all use it as their base tool.
We don't replace lawyers. We empower
You
lawyers.
know, but it can be a great guide tool for all
It's like
those
the
people.
on ramp. It's the on ramp to start doing exit. It's
Fantastic. Can
an
I ask you a
infrastructure.
question, a technical question? How does a PlanBot value a business? What's the mechanics and basis of how it
Okay,
values?
okay, that's a good question, and that's probably something good for you guys in UK. We use Nimbo. We have a link to Nimbo, who provide what we call a conceptual value, because you need to have a range. Most people think their value, oh, my friend sold his company for so much, mine must be equal. No, no, there has to be about 16 to 20 questions in terms of, well, if you were to leave for a month, would the business look like when you come back? And Nimbo produces, it's a software valuation, it's a preliminary valuation that will tell you a ballpark, a range of what your company is worth. And Nimbo is excellent for that, and it will deal all up companies. Once they've got an exit plan, a conceptual exit plan, they will need a formal valuation. Because if let's say people are buying a company, they will need a loan. Well, they need something to base it on. So for filing for tax purposes, you want to avoid the capital gain. With capital gains, you need a valuation, a formal valuation, not just a software valuation. So we use the tool is to gather information enough for it to be real, to make sense, and then you got to fine tune. And this is where you cannot avoid doing the professional. But at least if you go and see the professionals, you're not starting from scratch. You did most of the heavy lifting. You come with the lawyer and say, this is what I want. I need a buy and sell agreement. I need letter of intent. And I need that because this is the list that was given to me. And how can you help me out with that? Lawyers like that because now they can charge their $300 to $500 an hour because they are going to do exactly what they're now. They don't have to do a preamble of asking questions of, well, what would you like to have? How it's going to come? They do service what they do, and for a client, it avoids. But if their lawyers or their accountant are not good in exit planning, PlanBot as a directory of people that are members of API or other organization that use this to reference for their client, and they use this as a pipeline for them where they could provide you with the exact service. They're familiar with PlanBot, and they will be part of their team. Or if they want a lot of people for a little bit bigger business, they don't have the time to coordinate this so they use an exit planner, a certified exit planner like me, that will be acting as a quarterback, put the team together, get the things done, but only the things that need to be done, not all the preamble, the on-ramp stuff that is costly and that doesn't give, how should I say, measurable result fast. So this is the intent, is to save money, and it's also at the same time to empower the other professionals in the teams, dealing with people who know what they want, who know it's worth it, are ready to spend the money because they see there is, 200, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million to be made. And for larger firms, even for large firm, they love it because they get to do it on their own time. And then when they go and see the lawyer, they like to avoid having to spend, even if they'll make a lot of money, why spend $10,000 or $20,000 on, make me happy fees of gathering data manually when it can be done automated? People that are not going to use AI to do that as professionals are going to stay behind. I mean, this is life. We're in an information era, and either you use AI in your businesses or you're going to stay behind. And this is one way of using AI intelligently, powerfully, to help you make more money, to be scaling your businesses. This is the way. It opens a market that the accountants and the lawyers could not even go and see because micro business for them was not worth it. Because they know the guy was not going to spend $20,000 to do an exit plan. He couldn't afford it. But now $295, he's willing to spend. Even now the $10,000 is going to be required because most of the stuff is done because he's confident that it's worth it for him. So it's like a filtration tool. It's like an opening, an access. I say it's access now to exit planning is now accessible to all businesses. The only businesses that it is not good for, because it's a business that's not transferable. That is to say, self-employed people, people who don't
Sure.
have employees. Well, for them, they don't really have a business to transfer. They can modify their business to a if they hire people to make it like a machine, and that we have strategies and a way to help them. But in general, it's for people who at least have 1 to 4 employees as a minimum that have been in business for at least 5 years so that they have a bit of history. It's not for startup that don't want to think about that, but it's for people who are also want to use to plan their services.
PlanBot, right, is an analytical tool. So I just had a thought, and it might be a crazy thought, but could PlanBot be used to analyze the value of traded companies, i.e., to work out whether the shares are overvalued or undervalued?
This would be the machine is not learned for that. The machine learn is not
Right.
doesn't have
Okay, it
the
just crossed my mind.
no, it is not an investment tool. It is not how to better invest, how to rate other companies. It is much more of a planning tool to address a lot of questions that people just don't know the answer.
So going back to the core business, I've got a company, it's valued at $10 million. Yeah, I'm going to sell it. Does PlanBot help me with that structure? Normally, for example, very few people are going to come across with a 10 million check. So there might be a 5 million payment or a 3 million payment, and then obviously an earn out or some sort of structure. Will PlanBot help me get ready for that type of structure? I'm an ignorant seller. I don't really understand, what goes on in the selling market. Um, I'm thinking, oh, my company's worth $10 million. I'm going to get a check for 10 mil. Can PlanBot actually advise me and make me realise that, hold on, Gary, that's probably not going to happen. What might happen is you might get 4 or 5 mil, and then you'll have to do an earn out or something over the next 3 years on the balance. Does PlanBot go to that extent?
It will go. It's not ideal because for most people who have a company that they will sell at 10 million, they are already spending legal and accounting fees, which
Sure. I know I exaggerated on the value, but
that's right. But yes, it can. It will still do the same routine, except they have more options. Larger company can have the ESOP option, that is to say, a registered retirement plan for employees who buy their own company. There are more different options that are not as elaborate in the for small businesses, but certainly because remember, any exit plan, whether you're a large firm or not, you got to know what you want. And a lot of people, whether they're a large company, would you believe people have companies that, would be worth 10 million, but they don't have a clue what would be the net proceeds if I sell? What are the selling costs? What are going to be my legal costs? What are going to be my accounting costs? They don't have a clue what the broker fees are, how long it's going to take, what are the implications. And at least PlanBot will give them conceptually what it is looking like. We have a little calculator for net proceeds based on the option that they would have, that they would like to take, and what is the timing looking like, and what would be the involvement that they'd be involved. Yes, it can, although this is not the market that we are aimed, because this is a market that is well served. I'm trying to help the market of people who really need the help, who would benefit the most, as for them is the biggest value. For them, yes, if they were a company, it would be a good idea for them to do the preliminary work through filling those information before they consult a lawyer. They would even maybe more effective meetings with their lawyers and accountant and their bankers or their broker, because they would be more prepared. It would be a more intelligent decision as opposed to just at the last minute decide or trying to decide or trying to gather information. So it's a preparation tool at the same time,
okay, cool.
even for very
Can
large
it
companies.
help me identify buyer profiles, etc., tax exposure, exit timing, etc.? It can cover all those things, yeah?
So my mother tongue is French, You speak English with
Sorry.
an accent.
Yeah, I
So
do. I
sometimes
speak with an East London
so
accent.
would you repeat
Uh,
slowly the question?
can it identify buyer profiles?
Yes, it can, but not in very much detail. But it can identify which would be an ideal successor for you based on your goals. Uh, in terms of what it can be used, the application sometimes is used for people who want to buy a company because they see what needs to be done, what they do, what due diligence they need to get done, because just through asking through the question. And we're working right now with an organization in Canada to do similar what has been developed in Quebec. In Quebec, they did a great thing. It's a nonprofit organization that was done by the government to create a directory, a source where the buyers and the sellers are united. That is to say, they created you just, if you want to sell your company, you can register with them and they'll list it. If you want to buy a company, you register with them and you can sell it. And they give all kinds of training. I'm going to their summit at the end of March. We have a booth there because for them it still helps them. It empowers people to how to buy or to sell using the tool. But the tool is essentially though for the people who want to sell, but it could partly use for people also who wants to buy. And this is the goal. This is still very brand new. I've worked nearly a year and a half on this, and we are at the final validation and how should I say how should we work this, because it's a universal tool. Although I'm from Canada, we're not going into the final details of legal for each country, but we're doing all of the necessary data gathering so that they'll be positioned and look at options. Then once they've got the concept plan, they will go in their country. So I'm going in March in Dubai. We're opening a PlanBot Global corporation there so that we will be able to market internationally this universal tool for people in every country. So that's going to be the tactic. PlanBot Canada will still work on the Canadian one, but the distribution worldwide is going to be through the global company.
How many clients do you expect to obtain? I mean, obviously at $250 an
I,
engagement, you need a lot of clients.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, I started this to avoid doing the dishes and doing the vacuum. So I don't know, but I know one thing that there is 200 million at the lowest numbers you can look at on internet or asking any banking authority. There's about a minimum of 200 million businesses in the world. Now, even if I get 100 of that, I mean, we're talking about multi-million dollars worth of sales. So, I, I don't really do this for money. When I've sold my businesses, I retired with my passion is just I had not account that the time for flying and my passion was completely going to take my time. So I needed another passion. And I just love to talk business. I love to do something, make a difference. And PlanBot was never created to make this a money maker. PlanBot was created to how can I help people who need help in selling their businesses and don't have the access to it. How can I do that? So this is how it was done. But I certainly see that there is opportunity for that because, believe it or not, as I was creating this, venture capitalists approached me because venture capitalists are looking for any AI opportunity. And they look at what we've got, and I was lucky. I got investors who reimbursed practically by just putting money in the company, seeing the opportunity there of what I had done so far. And I had not even sold a single application yet. So to me, it says, maybe I did something good there. Maybe there's opportunity there. And they saw the opportunity for this as a universal tool, even in the country which are not as rich, it's because it's an affordable tool. And it uses the power of AI, and it is just an ideal tool that was required. There was a need for it. It's just for me, I call it a blue ocean opportunity because this market didn't exist before. It's a market that I created, just like Facebook created the market, other organization create market. With the new era, there's new business opportunities. Role are changing. Exit planners right now, lawyers, accountants, they're still not being replaced. Their just role is changing, and PlanBot allows that to do that.
Do you see long-term AI eventually replacing conceptual advisory work?
Conceptual work, yes, it can be done, but at the end, there always will be. Human will not be able to be replaced. There will always be that human factor that has to be involved, the judgment that needs to be there. To me, I know it's scary when you think about AI, about all it can do, how it can replace, but yeah. And if you're not scared of it, you use it. Yeah. You see, you got just when you not know something enough, you got to get to use it. You got to face it. This is where you remove the fear, because then you realize, oh, there's some great thing that can be done with this, as opposed to, oh, it could be dangerous whatsoever. So I think if you realize the potential for it, you will realize most businesses, they'll need to incorporate AI in their business to empower themselves and to do some of the things that they do manually that can be done through automation.
I think it's amazing. I mean, it's my business, so I love what it can do. And we haven't even touched the sides yet. If you could change one thing about how small business owners think about exits, what would it be?
Well, funny enough, there's nowhere in the world, no university that trains people how to build a business. And most people work their entire life on their business, and then when comes the time to sell, they say, "Whoop, it's not important. I'll wait at the last minute." I mean, that's their biggest asset for most of them. It's their life history, it's their legacy. They wait at the end. So if there's one thing that I think could be changed, is that to learn that in a business you can learn to set it up to work like a machine, as opposed to you owner-centric. It's very nice to be owner-centric. I mean, you take all the calls, you get organized, you make all the decisions, but after a few years you find out that it's getting heavy. So if PlanBot can do anything, if I wish it could do, it could help them to create a real business, something that gives them freedom. That's what they joined the business to do anyhow. They said, I want to go in business to be free to choose which clients I want to do, the time I want to do. The problem is, most of the time it comes to invert. They become a slave to their business. And AI can help them removing that slaveness and become more freedom.
That's obviously what A1 Solutions is about, automating businesses. We have found that we can automate 80% of what people do, which obviously fulfills what you're aiming at. But what advice would you give a founder now who hasn't thought about their exit yet?
Well, to me, it depends on how old the business is. If, let's say, they found their company, they have to develop, the routines, because most transfer business is a business that has standard operation procedures, a business that has been documented, a business that knows their uniqueness, a business that knows which problem they're solving, because you're in business to solve a problem. And if you understand how urgent the problem is and how important the problem is, the more easier it's going to be for you to help your clients and get to know you. And you got to define those. So you've got to, if you were a founder, you need to really understand what business did you create, what problem are you solving, how you're going to solve it, why are you unique. Document all that. Do document how you do work, have standard operation procedures, then you're going to be ready to talk about how can I exit, when can I exit, and at what level, and even forecast when the time is going to be for you on how to get this and how to get it faster. I call it a way to accelerate exiting.
Excellent. So just one last question that just crossed my mind. Are you planning on apart from selling it obviously to many, many users, are you planning on white labeling this? So say, there's a company out there, they're consultants, and they help people with exit planning, and they would love to have your tool, but they'd like obviously to have it encompassed as part of their business. Are you thinking of white labeling it at all?
Actually, we have an affiliation program for larger entities like EPI or organizations or nonprofit organizations that, would like to have them, so that for them, we even want to share revenue with them so that they can make money. Because let's say nonprofit organization that trying to create a link together, trying to help people do it together, we don't mind. As I told you, I'm not there in this for making money, I'm there to help the people. So yes, we have a very detailed affiliation program where they can actually help their members, and doing that, they can actually take part of the revenue. So yes, we have thought about that, because the core value of the company here is to help other people, help fellow people in business, take advantage and empower them with today's tool, help them do proper planning. As an engineer, I've been, how should I say, occupational hazard. I have to do planning. As a structural engineer, there's no way that a building is going to get built without plans. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I do the same thing in business. If you fail to plan your exit, you're planning to fail it. So for me, this is basic document, and I love the fact that I was an engineer, because I've engineered the exit planning through AI, and I'm really excited about this, and the feedback that I've get for those people who have helped me create the validation, and their excitement with it is just unbelievable. I never thought a lawyer could get excited.
Well, to be honest with you, on what you've told me today, I think it's amazing. Honestly, I think it's a fantastic tool. But where can people find you? If they want more information about what you do and on PlanBot, etc., how can they find you?
They can go to my website, planbot.ca. We're going to have also another website, which is going to be PlanBot Global, which is not quite active yet. But if they go to planbot.ca, they can get the information. What do I do? What is PlanBot? How they can get it done? How they can work it? It tells my background, what did I do in life and why am I here? I'm not a young chicken, I'm 72 years old. So how did I get there, and why did I do exit planning? What motivated that? I enjoyed when I sold my first businesses. I got excited. I created a win-win situation out of, I don't know, it was second nature for me. And I even impressed my lawyers and accountant on the way I created it, and they said, "Oh, you're not too good here. You could have been a good lawyer." And I said, "Well, when I was studying at university, I didn't know if I want to be a lawyer or an engineer." And then I finally went up to be an engineer, because I was raised in a construction family. My dad was a builder. But it is kind of exciting, and I really hope people that need it, the micro and small businesses, that for them it is a lifeboat. It is a source where they could use economically and answers their questions. And even then, if they have more questions, we have on the website a place where they could contact us, and there's no fees for sitting down for a free consultation and finding out as to, can we really help you, and can we make a difference, or what would be their next step if they're maybe too much in the early stage.
Alan, well, thanks very much for today's podcast. I think it's been a really great subject. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I'm just signing off. I'm Gary Wayne from A1 Solutions. Obviously, we do these podcasts regularly. There'll be another one in a couple of days' time. You can find me on LinkedIn, on my website as usual, and on all the social media channels. Once again, Alan, thank you very, very much for your time. I'd love to have a chat with you in a sec. Thank you very much.
Very good. Bye-bye.